Hello and welcome back to Orsa Knits. Since the temperatures here in Italy are well over 30 degrees almost every day now, I've been thinking a lot about what to knit for this really hot weather. So I will admit that in the past I wasn't that much of a summer knitter, but in the last couple of weeks I've been scouring Ravelry and other corners of the internet to try and come up with some summery inspiration that will get me in the mood for knitting with lots of cool plant fibres. So this list is comprised of a lot of different elements that really inspire me when I think about summertime knitting. I've got some really classic silhouettes, but also some things that have colour work or lacework details that add a lot of texture and interest into very simple patterns. And I hope that by sharing this with you, you'll also feel like I do, that knitting doesn't have to stop when the weather gets really warm. Now, this first pattern I'm going to show you is one of three that I've selected for their simplicity and the fact that I think that they'll pair well with so many things during the summer months. And this first design is called the Summer Secret Crop, and it's by a designer called Jessie, who is very well known for lots of her summery and size-inclusive patterns. And this one I was really thrilled to find out is being offered for free. And something that I really like about this design is the fact that they include many options to customise the straps. So you can have them tying up back like a halter, or you can have them crisscrossed over your back if you like that particular look, or I've even seen some people try them with ties on the shoulders. I just really like how some patterns include a lot of different options for people who may want to wear things in different ways. And with this, because it is a very form-fitting and simple design, I think that it's nice to be able to add some interest and uniqueness in the form of those small details. Now, this pattern is knit up in a DK weight or with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn held double. And this also plays into just how customizable this design is, because you can really play around with texture and thickness of yarn. So you could go for something very light and drapey and you'll get something which is sheer and very cool. Or you could go for a slightly more solid and thick yarn that will give you a lot more opaqueness and maybe a little bit more structure and fit. This design, as with all of the patterns that come from this designer, is very size inclusive, and it can be made to fit a 61 to 158 centimetre bust. I think that I would personally make this in a dark colour, maybe a brown or a navy or a burgundy, and I think that it could look very cute with some nice tailored trousers. Now, moving on to design number 2. This one is the second of the 3 that I selected for their simplicity and clean finish, and this is called the Audrey Summer Top, and it's a pattern that's offered free by the yarn company Hobbii. I found this when I was looking through their website for free pattern ideas when I did my Hobbii yarn review last week. If you fancy giving that a look, then do check that out. I'll pop the card up, I think, above. And yeah, I was really just taken by how elegant this looks. It's quite a simple construction, so you have the triangle shaping here that plunges down at the bust, but at the back you do have an interesting sort of trapezium shape that goes into the straps. And I think that Audrey is a great name for this because it does conjure up images of that timeless elegance of somebody like Audrey Hepburn. And I think that this is also really cool because it's a great dupe for something like the Petite Knit Cumulus top. It has a lot of very similar design elements, but as I mentioned, the back is slightly different. And the finish is very polished because this designer decides to go for gorgeous little I-cord straps. I think that I-cord straps are something that you're going to see a few times in this video, just because they do lend so much class to a finished look, especially something which is quite skimpy and strappy for summer. This top is knit in a sport weight yarn or 2 strands of fingering weight. So again, you have a choice about customizing drape and colour, which I really enjoy, especially with summer yarns because they can be a little bit more tricky to figure out just because you don't have that stretch and the sort of pliability that you have of wool. This top unfortunately only comes in a total of 4 sizes, so from an S to an XL. However, I do think that if you want to knit a larger size, you could try and have a look and see if you can't customise it to size it up for yourself because it's quite a simple construction. And the sizes that are provided would knit up to be a chest width of 45 to 51 centimetres. Top number 3 is the wonderfully named Aphrodite crop top, and it is very romantic and form-fitting. This top, like the last one, features a plunging triangle-shaped V-neck, which I think is very, very flattering and feminine. And it also has a good sized band of ribbing down here around the waist that will really help to shape and mould to your body. I personally really enjoy this top because it's another one that allows a lot of customization with the fit and finished look. With this one, I would probably either shorten it to make it a little bit more like a bralette and therefore extend the ribbing section to about here, or I would lengthen it to make it a camisole that I can tuck into trousers for a really clean finish. This would also be an extremely quick knit that you could easily whip up when you're on holiday somewhere sunny, because it works up in worsted weight yarn on 5.5mm needles. The sizes for this top are given as bra sizes, so it ranges from a 32A to a, 36D. And this designer does also note that she wants to extend the size range for this top, so if you are interested in this and you want to try it in a larger size, I would really recommend dropping her a note because I know that there are a lot of designers who are just looking for somebody willing to test a different size to try and extend their range, just like myself. Another element of this top that I really enjoy is the fact that this comes in 2 colours. I think if I were to make it, I would personally stick to 1 colour. However, I do really like the mix of pastel shades. I think that that's really sweet and bright for the summer. And I also think it would work equally well with a couple of different shades of neutrals. So maybe a lighter top around the sort of bralette area and then a darker ribbing down the bottom. I think that that could look really cool. Pattern number 4 is the first of 2 that I selected because I wanted to give you some options outside of the standard camisole silhouette, and so I chose both of these because I think that the construction is different but also would work really, really well for this warm weather. Now, pattern number 4 is the Drawstring camisole by Purl Soho. And for any of you who have watched my free pattern videos before, there always has to be a Purl Soho pattern in there. They just offer such great stuff, and this one is no exception. As soon as I saw this, I fell in love with how timeless and elegant it was. I think that this would be a really beautiful piece with the gorgeous drape around the neck for going out to dinner when you're on holiday and just feeling a little bit dressed up and a little bit fancy in something that you got to make yourself. This gorgeous piece would work in almost any colour, and I also think in almost any length. So you could really shorten it to try and get that cropped look to wear with high-waisted trousers, or you could keep it long and wear it maybe with some straight leg trousers in a way that would look very polished and very cool. I think yarn that would be perfect for this would be yarn that has really, really good drape, because that would really highlight the sort of fold effect that you get around this neckline piece. Of course, this is the absolute star of this pattern. The way that this gather is so immaculately done, it's just something really special, and I think it's a piece that would work for so many different people. This pattern, like most patterns by Purl Soho, comes in a generous range of sizes, and this one goes from an 85 to 155 centimetre bust. Another element of this design that I think makes it so special is of course the tie detail that you have at the back. So at the front you have the beautiful gathering, and then at the back the I-cord cable passes through and it ties up around in a dainty bow that just, it's perfect. And another thing to note about the Drawstring camisole is that it knits up in fingering weight yarn, and as I said before, I would recommend a silk or maybe a really drapey cotton. And they also recommend that you use a crochet hook for some of the finishing. Pattern number 5 is an interesting piece, and that is the Bellini tube crop top. And I was really drawn to this for a whole host of reasons. As soon as I saw it, I immediately felt like the Irish moss stitch design reminded me a little bit of houndstooth, and I had this vision of maybe knitting it up in black and white or different sort of creamy neutrals and wearing it with tailored trousers and feeling like it would almost look like something Chanel. I think that if it was styled correctly and knit in some really gorgeous colours, it could be a very classy, elegant piece that I would personally wear, definitely tucked in, so a little bit more like a bodysuit. Now this piece is knit with some very easy and fun construction. It's knit all the way around in a tube, and then there is some strategically placed elastic which is secured inside in an invisible way that just allows you that good, snug and secure fit around your chest. This yarn is also knit up in an Aran or worsted weight, which would make it such a quick project. It would be something really great and little to be able to chuck into your bag, and something that I imagine you wouldn't need to use too much brain power on knitting once you got that Irish moss stitch repeat down. To find this pattern, you can pop onto her Ravelry site, and then in the description it takes you over to her blog that gives you the whole free pattern. And it comes in a decent range of sizes, from an extra small to a 4XL. And that works out to be about a 76 to 153 centimetre bust. Pattern number 6 is from the prolific designer Sari Nordlund, and this is the Sara top. This top really stood out to me because of the beautifully placed buttons that just look so clean and polished down the middle. But then when I looked closer, I also noticed that it features a very interesting textured stitch that I think could really make a yarn sing. This sort of style top for summer I feel like has been around everywhere in the last few years, and it's a look that I really enjoy. I think that the simple wooden buttons down the middle are very sweet. It sort of makes me think of little cottagecore tops or blouses. I just think it's really pretty. And I'm very impressed from the pictures by how well placed and how clean the buttons look on a piece like this. Because I don't know about you, but I do sometimes find when I knit my own things, buttons can look a little bit off, but these look like they're really solid and really well attached. And from looking at the pictures, I believe that the model has some pictures where she wears the buttons down the front and then some where she wears the buttons down the back. And I love tops that are reversible like that because it just means that it's so easy to change up your look and you kind of have two different styles in one piece that way. I think I would probably pair something like this with some comfy linen shorts, or maybe tucked into a long skirt for a little bit more of a formal dressed up look. The thing that I really enjoy the most about this style is that I think that it looks a little bit more polished and put together because of the buttons, but it still looks very effortlessly chic and summery. Now this pattern was a collaboration with the yarn brand Novita, and it comes in sizes for an 80 to 120 centimetre bust. This Sara top is worked seamlessly up from the hem to the armholes before you split it, and both sides are symmetrical, so you can choose how you want to wear it and whether you want to place your buttons on the front or the back, or I suppose you could probably also place buttons on both if that's what you like. Pattern number 7 is the Chicory tank by Rachel Brockman, and I was really excited by this top just because I think that the intricate lace work looks like it would be such a fun challenge. And I also imagine, because of all of the small holes in lacework, when you get a nice breeze, it would really make you feel cool and refreshed. The Chicory tank is described perfectly. It is a lacework piece for people who don't normally know how to style lacework. The silhouette is very casual and relaxed and modern, but the lacework is intricate and absolutely beautiful. It's also really cool because it comes in a twin set, so this designer does also offer, I think it's a little cardigan that goes with this that would match it perfectly. And something else that I really enjoy about this top is how low the back is, because I feel like that gives a sort of lengthening effect to your back, which makes it look long and elegant and would also make it a good option for wearing out for the evening or to dinner. This pattern also includes some striping down in the broken rib hem, which means that if you wanted to, you could add a little pop of colour. But I imagine myself making this in all one shade, maybe a black or again a burgundy. Yeah, I'm kind of predictable with my colours, but I just think that this would be a really elegant piece for the evening. This lovely lacework piece comes in a 73 to 165 centimetre bust. Thinking about how texture can really elevate simple summer silhouettes, I couldn't resist adding this Elvira camisole by the designer Rachel Sogaard to my list. This designer is very talented and somebody who I also mentioned in my spring patterns video. And this is from the Into the Circus collection by Filcolana. And they just have some really interesting patterns in this one. The story behind this I was particularly drawn to. So the camisole itself is very simple and shown here in this beautiful pastel pink. And it says that it was inspired by ballet chorus line dancers. But the actual print on it is a very subtle harlequin print. So again, taking that inspiration from the circus theme to this collection. This camisole is knit from the bottom up and includes some really intricate but very polished looking details around the hem and the line here for the neck. Unfortunately, it only comes in 4 sizes at the moment, so that's a small to an extra large. But this pattern, just like the other one I mentioned, I believe would be easy to customise for different sizes too, because the body is just knit like a simple tube. All in all, even though this camisole looks very simple, I think that the attention to detail used in the finish of it really make it stand out as a beautiful piece for the warm weather. Moving on to pattern number 9, I just had to include this one for a little bit of pop of fun and colour, and this is the Coquelicot top by KnittersSisters. And this top is just so quirky and fun. I think that it's a really great choice for people who really like colour and enjoy bright graphic prints that are really large and a little bit abstract. This top is worked up in 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, so you do have that quite tight, nice, even fabric of colour work. And I think that for this, I would probably go with something that is maybe a cotton and merino blend, just so that you get a little bit of that fuzz and forgivingness of a wool instead of just a 100% cotton. Something that I liked about this top was the fact that there are instructions to knit it flat or to knit it in the round, because I know that I personally am really not into the seaming at all, but I do actually quite enjoy stranded colour work, so I would definitely pick that option. Always good to have choices for people who have maybe not done anything in the round yet. Real star of this piece is of course the colourwork that looks a little bit like weird psychedelic flowers. I think that this colourwork piece would work up really well in lots of different colours, and you could really mix and match to anything that you fancy for the summer. Because the yarn in this top is fingering held double, it knits up on 6mm needles, so it would be quite quick and another good one for sticking in your bag for knitting when you're on holiday. This piece is worked from the bottom up and is currently available in 5 sizes from extra small to extra large. To sum up, I really like this top just because I think that it's a little bit quirky and it looks quite trendy. I could see it on a lot of people who like pastel explosions of colour and fun, and I think that it will be nice and cool and breezy too. The last pattern that I wanted to share with you today is this super sweet lantern sleeve top. Now, as the name suggests, the gorgeous thing about this design are the massive puffy sleeves that I just think add a lot of drama and a lot of cuteness to this top. I wanted to include a t-shirt design in this video just because I know quite a few people, myself included, are a little bit shy about wearing super strappy things. But I suppose one benefit of a lot of these patterns is they are quite a bit smaller and therefore they'll be really fun and quick to knit up with a little bit of plant fibre yarn. This one is no exception. The yarn recommended for this is a cotton, and I think it looks like it would be very cool and comfortable. Many of you may well know I really like slightly more dramatic details like puff sleeves, bows and frills, and so I just had to include this one because the puffy sleeves on this are really quite big. This t-shirt is knit from the top down with some interesting elements at the beginning of the puff sleeve section and some simple raglan lines that I think would make the top probably quite easy and straightforward to knit. The collar and the hem of this are finished in simple ribbing, and at the moment this top is only available in 3 sizes, but makes a lovely option which I really wanted to include also because it does come in the Italian language. And I find it quite rare to actually stumble across free patterns that I notice are also in Italian. So I just wanted to put that one in there for all of my Italian viewers. So that just about wraps it up for my free patterns for summer. I hope that you found something that you really liked in this video and that you, if you were a little bit hesitant like I was about knitting throughout the summer, have got the inspiration and the idea that yes, you can make something even when it's really, really warm. Knitting is for all year round, not just for winter and autumn. So thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!